Hey Lizards, Gizmo here. I wanted to share some of the cigars we'll be smoking in July and August, so you can smoke along with us if you'd like. For Cubans, we've got Partagás Series P number 2, Vegas Robania Unicos, H. Upman number 2, and a 1970s Los Statos Deluxe. And for New Worlds, we've got Aging Room Quattro and Espressivo, Oliva V and Churchill, Arturo Fuente Hemingway Series and Signature, and Tatuajes Reserva Broadleaf Regios, with much, much more to come. Have a suggestion? Email us, loungelizardspod@gmail.com. That's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. And now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Grinder, Senator Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some whiskey, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 36th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We discuss the patented distillation process of our whiskey pairing. We read a critical listener email, and Pagoda details his first fender bender, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Nikka coffee grain whiskey with the Partagás Series P number 2. The Battle of the Pyramids continues tonight on the pod with the Partagás Series P number 2, a beautiful Cuban that we all love so very, very much. I think we all have a bunch of these in our humidor, right, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Love this thing.
Just a few.
Just a few boxes.
Just a few 25 counts.
It's a beautiful 52 ring gauge by 6 1/8 inch cigar. Like we mentioned, a pyramid, tapers at the top, and it's just classic letters series Partagás.
Yep.
For sure.
Standard production.
Yes, sir. So let's cut this thing, boys. See what we're getting on the cold draw. It's interesting to, I was thinking about this today. I was texting with Rooster earlier, and I was telling him how this is one of those cigars that, like, knowing that we were going to do this on the pod tonight, I've been thinking about it all day. All day long, I've been thinking about this cigar.
I was texting, and he's like, I can't wait to see you guys in 3 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, boys, what are you getting on the cold draw of this thing?
Bit of cedar.
It is definitely cedary. Maybe a little dried fruit.
Yeah, not much on the cold draw.
My draw is really nice, though.
It's fabulous.
Mine's wide open.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Fabulous.
It's perfect. All right, let's light this thing, boys. The Partagás Series P number 2. Again, it's a 52 ring gauge by 6 1/8 from Cuba. Part of the letter series. This, I think, and the D4 are kind of the headline acts of the Partagás letter series. There's plenty of others, but I think these two kind of lead the charge a little bit. And the E2, I guess, as well, which is a newer member of the club.
Did you mention the year this was released?
No, this was released originally in 2005.
Oh, I read earlier it was 2000 on CA.
No, it's 2005. According to our friends at Cuban Cigar website.
So when it's a pyramid, how far do you guys cut? Just the tip, a little bit more,
Quarter of an inch.
about a quarter inch.
Exactly 1/4 of an inch.
Because I see around the room. I mean, you guys cut more than I did.
I think you and I are
I think-
identical.
Yeah,
I try to look at where the band.
Senator's a touch more.
the
Maybe.
cap-
I take a little bit more.
a little
Yeah.
bit more.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
I look
That's
at where the
perfect.
cap ends,
Perfect.
and then
That's
I
perfect.
go just above where the cap ends.
I took a little more than that. I just take a little bit more on Cuban pyramids and torpedoes than I do New World, just because the number of plugged Cubans I've had, obviously a lot more than New World. So just to make sure I'm going to get a nice draw on this cigar.
Yeah, I'm just afraid, so it doesn't unravel.
No,
you know,
this
so-
is. I mean, mine certainly. I've never had an issue.
I've
I mean,
never
these
had a
are-
P2
Yeah,
unravel.
Yeah,
Even when I used to do gizmo cuts, I never had one unravel.
that's good. You acknowledge this now.
Gizmo cuts.
Yeah, well.
That's a great name for
When
a
I
barber
went-
shop.
When I have listeners
It is.
emailing, like, don't do a gizmo cut.
I'm going to buy the URL for that. It's a fucking great name.
Gizmocut.com.
Gizmo cuts.
Yeah. I can see all the train of like 5-year-olds going in.
Yeah, it sounds like super cuts for kids.
Yeah, barbershop, Gizmo cuts.
Oh, what a delicious cigar on the white.
Yeah. Wow.
What are you guys getting on this thing?
Mine, for me, very nutty.
Little hay,
Nutty, little leather.
cedar, hay.
Yeah.
Leather, coffee.
I'm getting a little coffee too.
Yeah.
A little dried fruit, like a raisin, just a touch of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people call out sourdough on these cigars. I've really never gotten that flavor note personally.
Honestly, I think the drier the cigar is, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more of a brioche. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't like the dough. I don't like a dough when it gets sour.
No foie gras.
No sourdough.
Roy.
Is that you busting my balls again?
Is that's the cousin of Leroy Gras, right?
Right.
Roy Gras.
Right.
Leroy.
Leroy. Yeah, this is a delicious cigar.
It's awesome.
I've been smoking a lot of these. I think we talked about it when we did the Monty 2. It's usually one of the pyramids is pretty much in my daily rotation. I'm either reaching for the Monty 2, the P2, the Upman 2, or the BBF, which is not a pyramid, but
Yeah.
the Bellicosos Finos is in that kind of slot in my daily rotation.
Yep.
So I'll say I'm really glad. I don't know what the last couple of years, the magic that's been producing this cigar, because the P2 was my favorite pyramid years ago. And obviously I'm a Partagás guy. It just worked perfect. The D4, the P2, that was always part of my rotation. And I don't know, maybe I got unlucky. I had a few bad boxes, but I had P2s for a couple of years that were not bad, but just were not as spectacular as I remembered them. And they sort of fell out of my rotation. I was like really shocked by this. I would smoke through so many of these. And that's where the BBF became the headliner for me, where if I was picking up a pyramid, that's the cigar I would get. And Giz has been raving about the younger P2s. And so I started buying some more of these and giving them another try and revisiting them. And this is just like I remember this cigar years ago. Something in the last couple of years, these are fantastic now.
Yeah, so we're all smoking, I think, 2020s or early 21s. And to your point, I had 2014s that were very good. And then I had 2017s that were very, very lackluster.
Except for Rooster. This is a 2009.
Yeah.
2023.
I had the 2017s I had were atrocious. And I say atrocious comparing to what I would expect out of a P2, they just didn't deliver. So yeah, I think this is really delicious. So what does the cigar stack? I don't want to compare to the D4, but I think it's a fair thing to talk about flavor profile wise, because it is the letter series. It is classic Partagás. Where does it compare for you versus cigars like the D4, just flavor wise?
Yeah, I'm not quite getting, like on the D4, you get some cinnamon. You don't get that on the P2. Basically getting cedar and some hay, like you said, some nuttiness, but not
It's a totally
not
different.
like baking spices.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
It's a different
like
cigar.
No cinnamon or
Yep.
anything like that. But very smooth, very balanced smoke.
I find that there are a lot of folks who love the D4 that don't love this, and vice versa,
No, interesting.
which is weird. I know it's a crazy thing to say in this group, but on some of the forums I'm on, when they discuss specific cigars,
That's crazy.
they'll say like a lot of folks don't love the D4, which is crazy to me.
Wait, don't love the D4?
Don't
That's
love
insane.
the D4.
All right, they're disqualified.
Yeah, they are.
I'm sorry. Like I've never, honestly, I'm actually curious. I have never met a person who has said they dislike a D4.
I can see it the other way around,
Me too.
but-
That's why I
but
thought you would have
not-
said the P2.
but not like somebody who loves a D4
Yeah.
might not love the P2,
Me too.
Yeah.
but not the other way around, because I think
Right.
the P2 has a little bit of pepper in it. too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got a little bit more oomph.
That's true.
D4 is just smooth. It's cinnamon and
Very
it's,
tasty. I've given the D4 to novice cigar guys, and they love it. I haven't had a single rejection.
especially lately. I mean, they've been spot on.
Oh yeah,
I mean, to me, the D4 is the gateway drug into Cuban cigars.
yeah. We've said
Yeah,
that.
we've said that before. It's just the one for me. If I'm going to hand that to somebody who's never smoked a Cuban, that's the one you give them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't smoke it enough to have a good comparison for me.
Yeah,
You're disqualified.
I think Ras could also be a gateway.
Oh,
definitely,
yeah, for sure.
Definitely, it's
Right,
just not as
because-
ubiquitous as the D4.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, because I've given it to a few of my friends and they have loved it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of really impressive because, typically we smoke a lot of the new worlds, and then trying Cubans, Ras and D4 seem to be like on the medium-bodied kind of flavor profile as well. But people tend to like it. I love it. So
I mean, how many D4s do you guys smoke in a week? I mean, I smoke at least
3 or
I would
4.
say
or 4 probably.
at least 3 to 4, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Same, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
would say at least 3 to 4. But if I'm smoking, here's what I'll say though. If we're all kind of on the same page about that, if I'm planning to smoke a P2 or another Partagás, I will not have a D4 in my rotation that day.
I've been
I'm
hesitant.
different in that way.
You'll have both?
I think the flavor profile is different. Like I would easily, and I have many times before, especially before the BBF cracked my rotation, I'd start with the D4 and then I'd go to this right after. And I had no issue. I liked the progression because it went from like sweeter to like a little bit bolder of flavors in the P2.
Yeah. I've been hesitating going through my Partagás inventory because I'm afraid I can't get them. So I stay away from smoking these. I've got a lot of these. I've got a lot of D4.
I feel
And
like
I'm trying to hoard them.
I feel like I've been seeing these come up though.
Yeah.
Like I'm fortunate. I have 3 boxes of them that I've gotten in the last couple months that I just,
Yesterday.
yeah. I mean, they just have been continually popping up. So, I think I don't think these are gonna be in limited supply.
Yeah, if I also had to compare this, we're obviously talking the Battle of the Pyramids and torpedoes and all that. This to me is most similar to an Upman 2,
I agree.
where like this is nothing like a BBF. I would never make the comparison, but I get a lot of, and I think the Upman 2, interestingly, like doesn't have as aggressively dessert-like flavors as some of the other Upmans, and I think has a little more body and strength of flavor to it that I think this also does within the Partagás line. So
Yeah.
I view them as very similar sticks.
I will say though, I've been the Upman 2 order that we shared.
Yeah,
Those are so delicious.
they're amazing.
I am getting a fair amount of dessert notes in that particular cigar that I haven't ever gotten in previous Upman 2s.
There is a sweetness about those
It's
Upman
strange.
2s that
little
nothing
bit,
else has.
yeah.
It's just a touch of sweetness that kind of rounds it out.
Yeah, I don't
agree.
get that in this cigar. To me, this
No.
is more of a serious cigar. There's pepper, like we said, coffee, leathery.
Actually, I did get a bit of sweetness in the back end, like very mild milk chocolate. I don't know.
I got some of that with the
progress.
coffee notes.
Oh, agreed.
There's a saltiness about this too that is very different than a Monty 2 type of saltiness, where we call it twang.
Yeah.
Where it's a different type of salt. This to me is more like I hesitate to use the word almost like a table salt or something, but that kind of salt on my tongue, very different than a Monty 2.
I agree, but that's just like typical Partagás flavor.
Classic Partagás,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like you get that in the D4. You'll get that even in an E2.
This is an awesome cigar.
It is.
Hands
It is.
down.
And it's elegant in the hand. It's
Yeah.
it's a serious smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You feel good smoking it.
I'll go as far as to say some may disagree, and I guarantee if Puba were here, he probably would disagree.
Oh, I
with
know where
this.
you're going.
But I think of the pyramids
Uh-huh.
that the P2 is the best constructed of them. As much as I love the BBF, the BBF is a more
Yeah.
rustic construction.
Yep.
And even the Upman 2s, I'll be honest, I don't think they're beautiful looking cigars. I really don't. I think they smoke fantastically. But I don't like hold an Upman 2 and say, wow, look at the construction of that. Some P2s, you get a box. I mean, this in particular, the construction's perfect.
Yeah, they're pristine.
Well, the BBF is a Bellicosa, right?
Yeah.
It's not a true.
Yeah,
pyramid.
I don't mean it in a literal sense, but
Sure.
they're all roughly the same
Similar
shape. where they have
dimension.
a
Now,
point
have
at
you
the
have
end.
you had the Diplomatico number 2?
I
It's
have. I
also
didn't.
pyramid. You didn't
I
like
didn't
it.
love it. We have to
Yeah.
do it on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. I have another one that I just
Was
haven't
it
touched.
fresh or?
No, it's an older one. I think it's the
Yeah.
same that we got. I don't know if it's 15, 14. It's pretty.
Right.
I feel like it has some age on it, but I just didn't love that cigar.
I'm intrigued by that line. Haven't had enough of those.
Yeah, I haven't had too many of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
need to explore more.
So we mentioned that these come. We mentioned that we have boxes of 25. They also come in the display cardboard boxes of 15 tubos in 5 cardboard packs, and they also come, which is why I wanted to mention this because I'm loving them. They also come in a semi-Boit Nature box of 10 cigars, as opposed to the 25. And I have been, loving 10 count boxes of Partagás, loving them.
But
Yeah.
I cracked open my 25 count, the presentation, when you open that lid, it is spectacular.
It's amazing.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
The insert, the name of the cigar, how beautifully organized it is. It's really a beautiful experience.
And the smell that comes
Yeah.
off them.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But again, we mentioned this with the Monty 2 episode. For a listener out there, maybe who hasn't had this, wants to try it, the 10 count semi-boit nature box is a great, it's a great low risk jump into the Partagás P2. So I highly recommend it.
What are you calling that? The semi-nature boy?
Semi-boit nature.
Boit.
All I hear is Ric Flair. Like
Nature boy.
nature boy. Semi-boit?
Semi-boit nature box. SBN. I don't know.
Gizmo teaching Grinder something. I love this.
But here's the problem: is he's going to find out that I'm either pronouncing it wrong, saying it wrong. There's some sort of angle coming that I'm definitely going to.
Boy and foy are kind of, kind of similar.
It's a semi-boit nature box.
Yeah.
Well,
I do love these two. Just to go off of your thing about presentation, Bam. I love them in a tubo. I just think that
never had it.
that pyramid tubo.
Two and a tubo?
Yeah.
I've never even seen one.
Neither
Oh
have
yeah,
I.
I've had them. I
Never.
ordered them from our old source.
Interesting.
The best part about it, of course, was the tubo because he ages them and God only knows what. But we've moved on. We've moved on.
Mhm.
So if you notice the band on this, there's a period at the end of number NO. So at one point, the Partagás, there were 3 dots. There was 1 dot after series, 1 after P, and 1 after number. So when you smoke some old Partagás bands, they call them 3 dots.
That's cool.
3 dot bands. I don't know what year they switched, but
That's a cool fact.
That's
Yeah.
some deep knowledge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're in the connoisseur's corner right now.
Rooster's
Have you-
Connoisseur Corner,
have you
baby.
smoked one of the 3 dots?
I haven't. No,
Oh man.
Oh.
You must
Yeah,
have choked a
unfortunately.
raccoon earlier.
I think that was.
your
I think
brain
that
cells
was
are
like
expanding.
mid to late 90s. I think.
Yeah,
I think they changed
not
that.
far back. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not that far. 25 years,
Yeah.
something like that. For Rooster, I mean, that's not that far, Grinder.
A
Grinders-
large portion of my life.
Grinder's over here raising his hand. When you're a Rooster's Connoisseur Corner, he's smoking stuff from the 60s and 70s. He's got quite a collection. So, let's talk about our whiskey pairing tonight.
Quite unique.
Perfect.
I am really interested
Perfect
to
pairing.
hear about this.
I'm sorry.
because-
Just take a sip of that and then puff this P2. It like accentuates the sweet notes that are very subtle within the P2.
First off, on the first sip, because I didn't have a sip, that is
Brother, that is delicious.
so awesome.
That is delicious.
What is that? What is this? Well, I take a draw of my cigar. What is this whiskey? Because I need to buy it.
So it's Nikka coffee grain whiskey. It's a Japanese whiskey. I've only
Wow.
seen a lot of hype around this for years, but I don't know. I've said this before. I don't know much about Japanese whiskey. Only through the pod with you guys, as we're starting to try some of this stuff, I'm getting to learn a bit more and starting to really appreciate it. So when we were looking for pairings, this was just always on my list of something I had hoped we would do, and Grinder was generous enough to pick this up. I'll read the description on the back because I think Grinder especially will love this because they've borrowed something from Scotland in making this. It says this grain whiskey is distilled in a coffee still, which is a very traditional and rare patent still Nikka imported from Scotland in 1963. The coffee still produces a complex whiskey with a mellow and sweet taste originating from the grain itself. And the rest of this is useless as far as the description goes. But I think the flavor that this puts out is actually really nice, and especially since Japanese whiskeys are lighter, but I think this has more body to it.
It does.
This is very unique.
It's so good.
Do you taste coffee?
No.
No. When I first, I actually didn't know much about it.
How much
But-
was that?
I was just trying to think. I think it was like, I think maybe like $67.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Worth it.
That's a fair price.
I'll
Yeah.
price check it. Maybe
It-
it was the 87 one, and that one was the 60. I was looking at various whiskeys today, and I'm getting my prices conflated. So
Honestly, worth it. I mean, I would put this in a category of having like a meal, and after a meal,
someone needs to do a price check.
with a dessert
I'll
would be
work right
great.
I'll do it.
Aisle 5.
Fantastic.
No, so coffee stills are. When I taste this whiskey, to me, it tastes a little Irishy, frankly,
Mm.
because it's so smooth. It's kind of pure. I don't get any of the distillates. And learning more about it, that you'd expect that from a coffee still, which is like a series of vats, and they kind of brew it like a percolator, and there's like different tiers in each vat, and then they keep adding water to it, and there's different levels of the tiers, and it just keeps, depending on the tier, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and they keep adding water to it, and what comes out is even a super concentrated.
We missed your technical commentary.
Absolutely. This is great. So why do they call it a coffee still? Is it because
I don't think it has anything to do with coffee, but I think the still itself, it's kind of like a percolator.
okay? So it's just
You know what? Like
Similar to
your Italian grandmother. She
my
goes,
mom used to do that on
Yeah.
the stove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it bubbles, it brews, and there's different tiers. And then each tier, there's different compounds that it's extracting, and then it's filtering at the bottom, and they keep adding water to it.
And for the listener, it's not spelled the same as coffee as we know coffee. It's Coffey.
Got it.
Yeah. So probably has nothing to do with coffee.
Right.
So are you talking about the percolator? Like, you guys might have been to like Belmont Tavern once or twice.
Oh boy.
That-
If you order
What a
coffee
dump.
at Belmont Tavern, you get coffee in that percolator.
Yeah.
You
I
have
don't think
that?
it has that. I don't
I'm
think it has
going
any-
back just for that.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
me too.
necessarily related
Best food
to
ever.
a percolator.
No doubt about
I
it.
use that as an example, maybe. I don't know. Because
How
like
do
I
you-
said,
Can I ask a question?
you may.
Boniello's sucks.
How do you parlay the Belmont
Oh,
Tavern into a
Wait,
coffee
just a
discussion?
percolator.
You,
We're talking
why
about
do
the
you like that place?
I like the percolator.
And,
That's
the
it?
chicken Savoy.
I mean, I don't know.
used to be good. I
There's
wish,
something to it
I
because
wish you
it's,
guys were there.
It was
like
good
we
when
were.
there were 3 dots on the Partagás band.
Ah.
How about that?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah, I got to say though, seriously, this is, I think we did. What do? We did Hibiki a few weeks back. We did Suntory. This is like night and day versus those other Japanese whiskeys.
It's funny you say that. And the reason I've been wanting to try this for a while, I had always heard really good things about Hibiki, but there are people that prefer this to Hibiki. And it's actually a bit cheaper in terms of price point. This goes for, I'm looking on Total Wine, it's $72 a bottle,
Wow.
which I think is actually very fair for how this drinks. Hibiki, I mean, Pagoda was talking about how the price is exploded on it. Like, he used to be able to get it for a more reasonable price. I don't know, maybe 70, 80 bucks. And now some places are selling for 150 or
$120 or so.
okay.
But from our favorite liquor store, it's $89. I mean,
What?
plus tax, so it's like 90.
So what does the coffee stills? What does it do to the whiskey?
It concentrates the batch, and it's a better distillation process. It's extracting more of the distillates, and you're getting more of the flavors from the vats.
So are those stills called or spelled COFFE?
So I don't know the spelling. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with coffee. But traditionally, whiskey is made in these pots and these cotton stills, and they're big. They look like a big teardrop. These things are cylindrical, and there's multiple series of them. There's at least 2, and as it goes down the line of stills, the water comes in. It's distilled. It goes into a vat. The water comes into the next one. And it just keeps getting more and more distilled.
So
As opposed to a traditional still where you distill it and then you take it out and you distill it again in the same still. This one has all of it in a line. It's like an assembly line.
But what does it do to the taste for you guys? Like when you taste it compared
To me, it's
other-
clean. It's
It's
clean
so
as fuck.
clean.
Oh, it's very clean.
It's clean, and it has just a richer flavor about it. Like you were saying, with the distillates, some of the other Japanese whiskeys we've had, Suntory is very light. Even Hibiki, I don't think has as much body as this. If you just pour this neat, there's some viscosity to this. I think even more so than Hibiki.
Really.
So I really liked it. I mean, this is a richer, more reminiscent of a Macallan in terms of the body that has, which is very much my speed. I think a lot of the guys in the room.
That's where I was going. This reminds me of a Macallan in it's
Yeah.
there's something about I don't know if it's more robust or there's a sweetness to it as well. It's almost I don't know how to explain it.
I'm getting. I don't get Macallan as an analogy. I get
not in flavor. I just mean in body.
Yeah. All right. For me, on the flavor side, I get sweet. Yeah, I get sweetness. I get molasses. I get a clean molasses. On the finish, it's kind of tangy to me though. Like, I think because it's hyper filtrated, it's more of the kind of alcohol-y flavor.
It's nice
on
though.
the finish.
It's nice.
It's like it feels a little numb. Kind of like iodine.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
not getting
I don't get
iodine.
No, I don't get
finish
any
at all.
iodine.
But I do have a very, it's pronounced sweetness. I taste it. It's so smooth.
It is. I would put this right in between Hibiki and Centauri, right in the middle.
I'd put this right next to Hibiki personally.
I actually enjoy it more than both Hibiki and Suntory.
From the point of view of body.
Oh,
For
you're
me-
saying body. I
For
think-
me
okay.
personally.
Understood.
Now, I love the Hibiki.
Okay.
And remember, we gave that a very, very high score.
I think
did.
this has more body than Hibiki, but that's my opinion.
I think this is a great pairing for.
I
This
think
cigar,
it's worth
though.
a taste test.
This is like a nice.
Yeah, this is perfect for this cigar.
Oh, it is.
I mean, I saw coffee and I'm like, okay, this may be weird. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the flavor per se. It doesn't taste like coffee. It's not infused or something. But
I don't know how many people actually do that still. That's not like very common.
I've never seen it on a bottle like that.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think that, because they're certainly not doing that in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's got to be some kind of patented engineering thing.
It is. I mean, it literally says patented.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
This scotch you can easily drink all night long.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this could be a problem very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I would reach like for this exact whiskey with this cigar. Like the pairing is perfect.
Yep.
Mine's gone.
Mine's almost gone. I need
Yeah,
a
we
refill.
Yeah, we're gonna pass the bottle around.
Barkeep.
Garcon.
Garcon. So while Garcon is pouring us some more whiskey,
Garcon is pouring himself more whiskey.
And we'll pass the bottle around
my
to
P-
us degenerates.
my P2, we're about an inch and a half in. I think we're all about the same.
Yeah.
It is. It's burning perfectly,
Yep.
razor sharp. The ash is robust, holding on for dear life.
Yes, sir.
It is so good, guys. I can't get enough of these 2020 cigars. Senator's telling me to
Yeah,
ash.
please ash that before that's all over yourself.
I'll keep
There you
mine.
go.
I'll keep mine for a moment longer.
Okay, so look, they have a picture of the damn thing on the back. This is the coffee still. It's like a tower.
It's
Talking
one
about a
thing to
tower.
have the ash and hold the cigar up.
Yeah. Speaking of towers, I
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
think we have a
Bam.
major lizard update.
Do we
Bam.
have give us a tower update?
Yes. Bam Bam has finally received his tower.
Hey.
Ho.
Should we get the Paul Roger out and celebrate?
Is it a mini tower, or because you said you could carry it?
I could carry it. No,
So,
it's
uh,
a tower of power.
So you finally
2.
got it.
Fine.
How long did it take? 8 months.
7 months.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous.
So now you have the Cigar Oasis. You've had that
I've had that
for 7 months.
for 7 months.
Yeah. So now you have the tower. What's the process now? You're going to seal it up, throw
Well,
the Oasis in, and
It's still in a box in the garage.
okay.
I will uncrate it, carry it down to the lizard lair, and season it.
Awesome.
Put the hygrometers in, start to calibrate.
Yeah.
The dungeon.
Yeah,
That's great, man. Congrats on that.
yeah. Thank
That's
you.
going to change your world.
Yep.
You're going to be buying like mad again. I know
Oh
it.
yeah, and I've been waiting and waiting for this to start buying.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
I'd
awesome.
I'd really like to come and help you put it all together, but
Well, there's a whole process. You got to seal the door, seal the outlet, LED lighting.
That takes an hour.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Try this whiskey neat.
Neat.
I have to re-pour.
When I said there's like body to this and viscosity, like it drinks so well neat.
Yeah. Where do they
Do you
age
prefer
this?
it
Oh
neat?
wow.
it's called Nikka.
Does it Pagoda? What is it? Does it tell you what they age it in on the back of the bottle? Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Man down.
Call the meds.
So Pagoda had a little accident.
He wet himself.
He wet himself.
Disinfected the floor.
This isn't Pagoda's only accident.
Yeah, twice in a week. I got to say, I was in.
Man, what a segue! What a segue!
So I was. I got to tell you. So I was in the. I was in Montclair, and I was watching a woman parallel park, and she took her hands off the wheel, and the car parked itself.
Is it a Tesla?
I don't know what it was. I wasn't paying attention. I was just admiring the fact that her hands were not on the wheel. And you know who I thought of when I saw this car?
Senator.
I thought of Pagoda
Oh,
because Pagoda had
Have
a
you
little
heard this yet?
little incident this.
You haven't heard?
I haven't heard.
Oh, what
So
happened?
Pagoda, or actually, Rooster, tell us what happened. You were there.
Well, where do I begin? So this was a night after, after the lounge. You were all there. So me, Pagoda, a couple other guys, we went to our favorite Indian restaurant, and we got there before Pagoda and one other guy. So we're sitting down at the table. The owner of the restaurant had a table set up for us outside, really nice, laid out. It was a little late, so we're sitting there, and then we see Pagoda pull up in his truck, and then all of a sudden we hear a loud bang.
No way.
A loud bang.
Uh-oh.
He backed up into the pole.
On the sidewalk. The
On
pole
the
is
sidewalk.
on the
It's
sidewalk.
an electric or maybe a phone pole. And I think he hit the wrong pedal.
He's excited. He's going to see you guys.
So he put it in reverse, and I think he hit the accelerator.
Oh, my
and,
gosh.
So quite a bit of
They are right next to
damage.
each other. To get to his, let's be fair. The gas and the brake are very close to each other on the floor.
Yeah, but in Pagoda's defense, he grew up driving a clutch car,
Cushman.
like a 3-pedal. So you can just imagine like how much more confusing that would be.
It's
when
true.
Yeah.
So when it
three
was
pedals?
easier with only 2 pedals, it makes perfect sense.
He needs a car with just no pedals.
I think I need a Tesla.
Self
He needs a driver.
He needs a driver.
I told you, I just love the
Wow.
visual of him sitting in his car after he did this and going, "Oh my Lord."
But you know what? I mean, nobody got injured.
I want
A
to
little
hear
bit
Mrs.
of damage to
Mrs.
the
Pagoda.
car.
Does she have
So
anything to
he
say?
got home,
Mhm.
and in the morning he told his wife, "He's like, what did you do to my car?"
So Pagoda, talk to us about. Give us the insight from inside the vehicle.
I don't know it happened so quick. I just saw a man in a turban screaming at me outside the window, and I couldn't hear him at all. And I was like, I was a bit startled.
It was loud.
It was my first accident.
No way. Really?
I've
Ever?
taken it, yeah.
Oh,
Ever.
wow. So
a
he
pretty
is,
good
he
track
is a
record.
very good driver.
He just got his license last month.
Hey, don't tell the truth. You don't need to disclose that to everybody.
But he's been driving for 25 years.
Yeah, just illegally.
Listen, I'm used to drivers driving us around. This
Hello.
is difficult.
Oh,
Why?
this is difficult.
I'm just not a DIY kind of guy.
You're more a DUI kind of guy.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh, somebody's getting shanked.
my Lord.
Oh,
It's about time.
It's about time.
I think the Pagoda title has to be just shifted. It's got to be whoever's shanking goes to them.
Oh man.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
but
No,
it happened really quickly, and I was kind of I just didn't know what to do, and the car just really stopped because all these new cars apparently it rested for 2 minutes, and I couldn't even move. I guess I
stick
call it.
shift.
Yeah, don't confuse me here again. But yeah, but
The
anyway,
stick.
it was kind of really embarrassing. But it is what it is.
The Scotch pounding continued after that.
Of course it
Yes,
did.
absolutely.
Here, just to calm my nerves down, please.
Please.
Well, we're glad everybody's all right. You didn't kill Ricky. I heard he was close to getting the.
Yeah, I don't think he would have felt anything.
Was this right in front of your table?
Right in front.
They're
Oh
sitting
my God.
outside.
It was where,
I wish I was there.
on the sidewalk. I mean, how much room is there between the sidewalk and the road?
No, but Bam Bam,
that's-
that's why I don't think we texted you after that because I think we all were just
In shock.
in shock.
So we're about halfway through the P2 here, boys.
That's phenomenal.
It is awesome.
With this pairing, it's
It's perfect with this
it's
whiskey.
delicious.
It's perfect.
Wow.
It's really good.
Absolute home run.
So I have to just share an email that we got, which was a critical email from a guy named Nicholas.
Oh, I was worried it was the police department for Pagoda.
No.
Oh,
that's-
man, please.
they don't email. They show up.
I'm a fugitive.
Is that on the Lizard P&L statement? We got to get that on the P&L.
So Nicholas wrote, the subject was Scotch in quotes. He said, so I've been listening to you guys for a while. I think you're doing a great job. Kudos to you. He said, you even weave in some Spanish words like vitola and marca in the conversation. Very nice. So why would you insult the Scottish people by calling whiskey Scotch? Isn't it time to call it by its proper name, even in the USA? I know the Scottish are strange and have the unicorn as their national animal, but I feel like it should be called it by its proper name. If the whiskey's from Japan, it's a Japanese whiskey. If it's from Ireland, it's an Irish whiskey. What do you think?
I'm looking right at Grinder.
Amen.
I'm looking at Grinder too.
He's right.
Looking right at Grinder.
In your absence,
the snark in that email is oozing out.
no, I'm sorry. I love this email because in your absence, the number of times that it has upset me hearing this.
I'm a major offender.
We should not be called like we're drinking a fucking Suntory and guys are like, this is a great Scotch. It's not from Scotland. It's very simple.
that is actually
Senator's looking right at me.
That's
by the
I'm
way.
looking at Bam Bam. It's been him.
That's very inaccurate. But I mean, yeah, he's right. You call it a Scotch whiskey, a Japanese whiskey, an Irish whiskey. But over here, I mean, how many people just call this spirit bourbon all the time? And everything else is Scotch or Jack Daniels, you know?
To his point, we should get it right. It's not like we sit here and we smoke a Padron or a Davidoff. We say, this is a great Cuban. It's not a Cuban.
I know. He's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He did, to your credit, celebrate Lefroy and said that we should sample the 18-year Lefroy, which sounds to me a little bit scary.
Yeah, a bit.
Little scary.
Heavy duty.
Yeah. That's like buying premium gasoline.
That's a mistake.
It's
always a mistake.
To me, the Lefroy is like, what kind of level of gasoline are you tasting today? Regular, plus, or premium?
Why are you not pronouncing the G at the end of it?
Yeah.
Is it Lefroy?
Yeah. There's a fucking G there.
I thought it was a silent G.
Why? And what language is it?
Look, he's still on foie gras.
Yeah.
G's are never silent.
So maybe the Lefroy is
Except
it
in
might be
Spanish.
good with a certain stick. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Might
totally
be.
down to try it again. It's been a long
did
time.
he
Let's try it.
If
did
we
he
want
recommend
to,
a
if we want to
stick?
smoke in Puba's pickup, we could power it with Lefroy. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, especially with the Monty Warner or Partagás 898.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that.
Honestly, though, we should try it. I just say that because I think we've talked about this before. That night we had at our friend who owns some restaurants in our area outside of his place, he gave us a bottle of Lefroy,
Yes.
I don't know, 10, 12.
It
Oh,
was
that's
10.
right.
And, you know, it was way late in the night. We were just desperate for a drink to have with the cigars we were smoking out there at his restaurant. It honestly, we all drank it neat.
We pounded it.
It was not bad.
No.
It really wasn't. And I'm not at all like an advocate for Lefroy because it doesn't fit my flavor profile for Scotch, but it was very drinkable. So I would imagine the 18-year
Smoother.
smoother, bit more refined. We should give it a try.
Yeah,
I think we have to try some more peaty stuff for sure.
maybe it would do well with the Lucy. The Partagás Lusitania might be a good match for that.
That's not a bad idea, though. I find that cigar to be a little mild, but I think the flavors may line up a little bit.
You don't want something that's gonna like a peated
Not mild,
Scotch.
excuse me. I mean medium.
It's-
Sorry about that.
A peated Scotch is gonna overwhelm your palate.
Yeah.
You know, so you want something that has enough combative juice to
Well, maybe
put up
the,
a fight.
Looking on my foot.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, maybe a New World.
I have one in here for you.
Oh, yeah, that's excellent.
Do you want it?
Sure.
Yeah.
The Alma Fuerte.
It's coming up
No, but
soon.
it could go well with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my point.
So we'll figure it out. But so Nicholas, thanks for emailing us and correcting Bam and I
Yes. Point well taken.
on dropping Scotch
Yeah.
when it's not.
Yep.
So the cigar is really doing well.
Yeah. How's yours burning?
It's doing well. I mean, it's a little touch up here and there. It's
I can't believe the pairing. I really what an accidental maybe or on purpose grinder. I'm not sure. Absolute home run.
Yeah, it is a home run.
totally accidental. We had some suggestions from the readers, I believe, and then Senator sent a text around, and I just kind of whatever I saw, I was like, oh, that's on the list, so I got it.
Yeah, this is really. I will absolutely be going out and buying it this
too.
week
Me too.
for sure.
Who was the reader that suggested it?
I don't
not,
remember.
Not this, the Whistle Pig.
Oh, the whistle.
Yeah, the other one.
Which I've had a lot of that. I like it a lot.
This was just a personal. I've been wanting to try this for a very long time, and it's lived up to everything I've read about it.
It's really, really good.
So what made you not pick up that bottle in the past? I mean, you try so many different whiskeys.
Because the only stuff I don't pick up is Japanese whiskey because I
Japanese.
really just have not. I've tried some and it's been so light, I haven't enjoyed it. So I'm not going to spend $80, $100 on a bottle that I going in already think is going to disappoint me. So that's why I just haven't.
But the Hibiki got a pretty high rating.
Fantastic. And honestly,
I love it.
From this recording, I am a fan of Japanese spirits. It's fantastic.
So
Same.
the
No doubt about
is
it.
anyone else getting more pronounced sweetness
Yes.
with this cigar?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Right.
Like
Senator
this
mentioned
stage?
that earlier.
I did.
it's
That's why
getting
I'm
sweeter.
sorry. Someone would. I think Giz was saying you don't get any dessert or sweetener.
Oh,
I
no,
think you
I'm
do
getting
in this.
it's
cigar.
getting more sweet as we. Maybe
What-
it's because it's not. There's no ice in it right now.
Yeah, but I really liked Senator's recommendation. You take a swig and you take a draw of your cigar. If this matching, it just works so well. So well.
I think that they offer something a little different in your palate, and
Yeah.
I think they match perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I think about sweetness, when I think about the P2, I don't think sweetness. There's a little bit there. I don't think as much as the Upman 2,
Right.
as far as a pyramid goes. But I think this either enhances it or just kind of dances alongside it, and I think it matches perfectly.
And
I really love it.
getting back to the cigar, we've said this before, and for certain cigars, this is an absolute must for the listener to try.
Absolutely.
Yeah, worth purchasing and keeping in your rotation. There's no doubt about it.
What do you guys think of pairing sake with cigars?
I've never done it.
Is that
Yeah.
something?
I think we should try it.
Yeah, I love sake.
I
Love it.
Do you?
Oh yeah, if I'm having sushi, I do.
It's one of those things that I'm like, I really want to enjoy it.
Yeah, the niguri, the milky.
Yeah, I
sake is
really
delicious.
want to like it, and I just every time I have it, I'm just like,
It has to be ice cold. And you
Yeah.
have to shake it, of course.
We should do this because this is another thing where I think I had sake maybe once.
Mm.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. It just didn't excite me. But people really love it and
Mhm.
appreciate it. And I would like to understand why. So I would be 100% on board with us trying to pair.
Not sure how it would go with a cigar. It's great with a Japanese meal, sushi, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
The only sake I've ever had is hot sake. I've never had.
I've never had that.
I've never had the creamy one you were mentioning that it was cold.
Niguri, yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly don't love it because I don't love a hot spirit. Like it's weird to me that
Me too.
it's warm.
Yep.
I don't like it.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Anytime I've ever had it.
What's
You can
what's
have cold
the
or
like the Chinese and the Korean rice?
Plum wine?
No.
Soju?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
soju. Oh,
Yeah. It's
Isn't that a-
Korean.
Is that?
that's a beer, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, that's obi.
no.
Obi,
It's a
obi
spirit.
is the
Yeah.
Korean beer.
It's a kind of
Soju is yeah,
I think it's
It's
similar
Korean.
in some ways to sake.
yeah, probably
served hot.
No.
Isn't it
No.
hot?
Cold.
No? Cold.
and most often in shots at clubs. At least
I
with,
just
with the
there.
crew
So
that
when
hang
I
out.
when I lived in DC, there was this great Korean restaurant nearby, and they had a ton of different types of soju, and that's like the only time I've ever tried it. They had like this great happy hour, and bartender was there was great, so he was always pouring stuff. It's actually pretty good. I don't know how it would pair with a cigar, but
I
that's-
don't know if it's. I guess it's something you can sip. You can sip anything.
So, so in the Hindi language, soju means go to sleep.
Really?
Soja.
Oh yeah, you drink enough of that stuff, you'll go.
You will go.
You will go to sleep.
Beta soja.
Beta soja.
Go to sleep, son.
Does that mean a bit of soja?
No, beta means like a child, like your son or son, daughter, or whatever. Anyway,
I love, by the way, I don't know if you guys have smelled it. The burn line on a P2 is always very satisfying to me. The smoke coming off of it. I love when I'm sitting in the lounge and it's
The burn,
kind of
yeah.
the smoke is like in my face. I love it.
Very nice combustion.
Yeah, it's great combustion.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's very, very good. And like I said, we've talked about this before. The recent P2s have just every single one. I haven't had a single plugged one, a single problem. Everything's been burning great, tasting great. It's been really nice. So kudos to the Partagás factory.
wonder why all the pyramids are called number 2.
It's a good question.
Good question.
It's a great
Right.
question.
That's a
I
really
noticed
good
that
question.
too.
Like, what does the 2 stand for?
Right.
like the Diplomatico number 2, Monty number 2.
My assumption is it
Up-
started
up
with the Monty
into-
2.
up into
Because
G2.
my assumption, this is an assumption. This is not an educated opinion, but my assumption, because the Monty 2's been around since, what did we say? I think the 30s, 40s, 50s. It's one of the earliest of this size. And I think it was just, they had the 1, 2, 3, and they've just added on. And I think as the other marcas have added this Vitola to their line, they just followed it and called it the number 2.
Yeah, but like in the Monty line, you have the Monty 1, Monty 2, Monty 3, Monty 4, Monty 5.
Yep.
But when you go to the Partagás series, it's not like that. You have the P2, E2, D4.
Yeah, everything is labeled
C,
differently.
There's a
Yeah.
C3.
Yep.
Right.
And there's a D5, a D6
D5,
of different
D6.
sizes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that, because the number 4 in the Monte Cristo is what, a Petit Corona?
Right.
And the number 4 in Partagás is a Robusto.
Right.
So it is inconsistent, but the 2 is always consistent, and that's the same. Like you said, the Diplomatico number 2 you mentioned.
Yeah, they're
that's-
all number 2.
except the Unico is the only one that doesn't have a number on it.
Right.
From
right,
Vegas
right.
Robania, which
That's
is
true.
coming up,
It's true.
which we're going to be doing. So I would love to hear from the listener, by the way, as we go through the battle of the pyramids here. What is your favorite pyramid? Which one do you prefer to smoke? Which ones have you had, haven't? I think we kind of listed them all in what we're going to be doing, upcoming. I hope we didn't miss one. The only one that we have to get is the Diplomatico number 2, but otherwise I think we have them all lined up, which should be good. So I can't get enough of this pairing, boys.
I know.
I can't get enough.
It's a
of it.
treat.
I'm just glad. I really thought the whole craze about Japanese whiskey was a lot of hype, and it's not. There's some really, really, really good spirits.
Yeah, it's proven to be very valid.
I'm glad we went down this path on the pod, because, again, as another item on the list of something I would have never understood, tried, really.
I would never have picked up a Japanese spirit,
Absolutely.
ever.
Because it's just
Yeah.
like tequila at one point, or
Yeah,
or champagne, or even some of the cigars we're smoking.
that's right.
It's just because of this pod is the only reason that I'm kind of going out and buying Japanese whiskey now.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Pagoda, you might have some experience with some Indian whiskeys that are really
Ooh.
sought after.
Oh, we need to try
should
those.
look into that.
I'd love to
Interesting.
try that.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
was recommending some Amrut, I think, is that?
Yeah, Amrit and Rampur.
Rampur.
Yeah, I have both of them actually. Maybe I'll
Do you?
bring them over.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm
How are
suspect.
they? How's Amrut? I've
I,
heard.
I really did not like it, Amrit. I really like the Rampur, but it's got a very different flavor. I'll definitely bring it over. It'll be interesting to see what everyone
Yeah.
thinks about him.
I need to decrease some mechanical parts. Maybe I'll use it for that. If you don't like it. If you don't like it.
How did the Indians get into Scotch? No, it's not Scotch.
It's a
Indian
whiskey.
Well, the
whiskey.
British, had a
We
huge
drink more.
influence.
We drink more whiskey than is produced by Black Label by Johnny Walker.
Of course. With
More
a
Black
sploosh.
Label.
With a
With a
sploosh.
sploosh of soda.
Johnny Walker, that Walker is his middle name. His last name is Patel.
Don't tell me.
It's JWP.
Do you ever see that? There's like a funny TikTok going around where somebody's at like a Rutgers University commencement, and they're like looking at all the people graduating, and there's like some voice layover, and it's going Pado, because there's like 500 Patels. It's like half the class at Rutgers.
Thanks, Greta. Both of my daughters are going to Rutgers.
Are they?
They're not named Patel.
No, but
Oh.
Yeah.
it's a big Indian community.
The young one,
This
too,
is
huh?
There's a
fact.
lot of it. Yeah, younger one too. She
Is
just
that
committed
right?
to- yeah.
That's
Where,
big
where
news.
have you been, Bam?
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Kudos to
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
You're right.
That's why he's been smoking more New Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got 2 tuitions now.
There'll be more and more of those.
You gotta unload some of that inventory
Yeah, you want to buy some?
Yes.
to pay for the
Yes.
tuition.
Yeah.
You can make a nice margin on some of these sticks right now.
I know.
I hear a yes somewhere around.
Yes.
Somebody said to us the other day, it was me and Gizmo were on this chat. This guy who's a pretty big collector, he has a lot of sticks. He goes, right now my inventory is like 0, meaning like, it's like what he paid or what it's worth right now. It's like he paid,
Yeah, just by buying and
just
selling,
buying
he's
and
paid for all
selling,
his stuff.
Paid for, yeah. His
Yeah.
inventory is basically paid for. Yeah. I mean,
That's
the
incredible.
prices
So that
are
means
going up.
by definition, mathematically, that means the price of
Good investment.
his market price is double what the inventory
Right.
costs, right?
Right.
Yeah, or he was just buying and selling more than
But he doesn't
2x
sell. He
or-
doesn't sell. I mean, hypothetically or on paper,
yeah.
his inventory is
It's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you have a lot of Cohibas and stuff that you
Trinidad's.
or Trinidad's
Yeah.
and you bought it like before this, like years back. I mean, imagine how much what the prices have gone up.
I think
to.
I told you guys I bought a probably my one and only ever box of Cohiba Robustos about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. What'd you pay for that?
I paid $6.99 for the box of Robustos.
Yeah.
That same box right now
About
at the same retailer
900,000?
is $1,700.
Wow.
At the same retail-
1,700
right now.
Wow.
Wow,
Yep, same retailer.
Oh shit,
it's crazy.
that's
incredible.
That's a nice flip.
It's incredible,
Wow.
and I'm going to keep them for a few years and age them, and hopefully
Then
enjoy
flip
them, and then flip them if I don't enjoy them. But
Can we do a pod?
yeah, in about 3-4 years, we'll do a Robusto pod.
So only some of us will get to enjoy them.
I'm giving
Bam
you a
Bam's
dirty look.
disavowed.
I resent the implication.
No, it's just Bam Bam. Everybody else is in except Bam.
everyone just Bam.
I'll come and watch.
Wait, why not Bam?
He's disavowed on trying new
Bam-
stuff from me.
Bam's an easy target.
It's gonna taste like Fundy.
No, I'm glad Cohibas are expensive. I never was a fan. I'm fine
No,
with it.
I'm the same way, honestly.
I am not
Let
a fan.
that subsidize the Cuban market.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Have at it.
100%. Now, Trinidad's, on the other hand,
That's a
Yeah, it's not
disappointing.
good. yeah.
My belief is that Cohiba will be able to sustain, and I think Trinidad's going to have a challenge as time goes on. Keeping those prices up
Yeah, I look forward to the
because
price drop.
they just don't have the
Cash.
name brand
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they really don't.
the market awareness that a Cohiba does. I mean, to me, it makes more sense to do that with Monte Cristo than it does
Yeah.
with Trinidad. But call me crazy. I don't know.
Mhm.
You're crazy.
Yeah. Just hopefully they don't do it with Partagás, as we mentioned before. The Senate will be on the first.
What a
plane
kick
down
in the
there.
nuts
Yeah.
that would be.
That would be so bad. Be so bad. So, what do you think, boys? You ready to do the formal liquor rating
Oh,
on
yeah.
our Japanese whiskey here tonight?
Mhm.
This is unbelievable
It
stuff.
is. It is.
Unbelievable. I want to keep rolling with this.
Yep. So I'm giving this a 9.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, solid 9 for me too.
Okay.
I'm
Senator.
in the exact same boat. A 9.
I'm going to do something crazy.
No, no.
I'm going to do something crazy. This is one of the best whiskeys I've ever tasted.
Better than Kirkland.
Yes.
How is that possible?
No, it's definitely better than Kirkland. And I love Kirkland. I actually haven't been drinking as much whiskey as I was,
Yeah,
but
you've been drinking Don Julio.
yeah, Don Julio Añejo and other tequila. But I'm going to give this a 10. I think it's a plus,
Well done.
slam dunk
Love that.
Japanese whiskey.
9 for me.
Okay. And the Composite Lizard score, boys, is a 9.2.
Fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yep.
And I think that's a perfect score for this.
It
A
is.
92 all day.
Yeah.
I think that's what Hibiki also got, right? 9.2.
No, higher.
Was
I
it
got
a
a
bit
higher.
higher? Yeah.
I gave Hibiki a 10.
Yeah, I think I give it a 10.
And I think it was higher.
Maybe two lizards must have given it a
9.4
10.
maybe is what a number I remember.
9.4 was the cigar that day, the Coronas Claro.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Either way, they're in the same class.
They
That's the
are.
point.
And it's shocking because, most of us in this room weren't fans of Japanese whiskey.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we're coming to the end here of the Partagás P2 boys, I am obsessed with the cigar, and I can't believe for a cigar that only has been released in 2005 that it's as successful and well known and easily accessible as it's become.
We take the cigar for granted because we have it, a lot of it, and we smoke it a lot. It's such a high quality cigar. I can't say enough about it.
And for the price point too, somewhere hovering between now, I guess, between 18 and $22 or so.
Still a great value.
I think for the experience you get out of it, I do think it's a great value.
Is it that much? I thought it was a little
I
less.
don't know. I had the
It was
same
like
reaction.
14,
Rooster.
14, 15.
I'm seeing them now.
Maybe
They're-
now. Maybe
Yeah,
now.
they're coming up. They're pretty high now. You're
Yeah.
looking at about probably $4.75 a box.
What isn't going up now?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just got a 10 count of these and I paid 16 a stick.
That's not bad.
That's
From
phenomenal.
Cigar Terminal, no secret.
That's not
Anyone
bad,
should go
okay.
on there and look.
That's awesome.
That's good. I've seen them hovering between 450 and 500 recently. So, they're creeping up. But if you could find them for less than that, like Senator did at 16, that's a great value. Great price.
Remember the box I got with you in maybe January, February was like 300.
Yeah. Stinks.
25 count.
I mean, I remember when D4s were 225. What, a year and a half ago?
My biggest regret is not getting a second tower and just stocking up. Even just a year or two ago, prices were so
yeah,
great.
who knew?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So disappointing.
And just as I'm getting my tower, the prices are going up.
Well, we only told you about it like 3 years ago.
I only ordered it 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad we got what we got.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's not going to deter me from buying the price increase. It's just
True. You love these sticks.
not. Yeah. You buy what you love.
Yeah, and you may just have to stay away from Trinidad, if that's
Maybe.
If that's that's certainly becoming cost prohibitive. But
Yeah.
the rest, it's nominal increase year over year. So
The Colonialis now is going for roughly $24 a stick. I'll still pay that.
Oh yeah, I saw a box for 500 now. The Colonialis.
I couldn't believe on Monte
500.
Fortuna, I saw 550, I think.
550.
Even.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah.
and how many sticks are in that?
24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not a big stick. It's like a Corona.
Yeah.
Right.
The last one I smoked we did on the pod. I haven't reached for one since. Great cigar. I just don't have enough.
Well,
Like,
we have to keep them.
Yeah, I have to hold them. I only
Yeah.
pull them out,
Yeah.
every once in a while. Same with fundies. I can't tell you the last time I had a fundy.
I stare at the fundies almost every morning.
Yeah, this discussion is exactly why I think it's impossible to rate cigars without at all factoring in the price point.
Yeah.
You just have to, because when you can get a cigar that's as satisfying as this from 16 to 22
Yep.
on the high end, when you can get a D4 for $14 a stick, and you're comparing that to something that you're having to spend double or triple that's maybe almost as satisfying or not even. To me, you have to that has to play into the equation.
A Trinidad Colonialis for $24.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Obscene.
Dude, the fundies are like 1,700 a box. I sold them to you for $685. I need it back.
Thank you.
I don't know how you have more fundies than I do.
I'll give $1,500. It's yours.
Fuck you.
All right, boys, we're coming to the end here of the Partagás Series P number 2. Any final thoughts on this stick?
This is a
Before we rate
roach.
it?
Yeah, it's a roach clip cigar. This I could take all the way down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. What are you
Yeah.
guys thinking?
Go ahead, Grinder.
That's just funny. You use roach clip. I love it.
Yeah, it's a term, roach clip cigar. You want to get it all the way down.
I
till
love
your,
it.
till your fingers are burning and then you drop it.
All I'm thinking about is
I know.
alternative uses for
Of
roach
course.
clips.
Of course.
Bam does need a roach clip.
Yeah.
We should get him
sometimes.
one. We should get him one for his birthday.
Oh, I would
Seriously,
love
he smokes cigars down to the very, very
More
end,
than
like
anybody.
no one
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah.
I just love the cigars. If it's the right one, the right night, it's
Yeah.
tasting great. I just don't want to drop it.
Yeah.
Rooster, what do you think of the P2?
Very good. Good stick. But, to me, I would probably still pick up a D4 over a P2. But I think the P2 has a little bit more pepper, and there's certain days you want that, and certain days you might prefer the the D4 over that. So, I'm going to rate it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm
Let's
going to
give
give
it
it an 8.
All right. Grinder.
This is a high one for. This is I smoke this in the Monte 2 daily now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because they both are right in my sweet spot for flavor profile. I was like struggling because I smoke it so much and I love it, and it's like I look at my cabinet and I have like all these cigars, and I only want to smoke a P2 or a Monte 2.
Yep.
D4s I don't smoke enough of to like really have that hankering that you guys are comparing it
They're
to.
bad. Don't buy any.
I was like maybe a 10, but I don't. It's probably not because I know I've had so many better cigars. So I'll give it a 9.
Okay. I'm also going to give it a 9.
I'm in lockstep with Rooster in 8.
I'm at a 9.
I'm going to give this a 9.
All right.
Yeah. It's a 9 for me. Yeah.
The formal lizard rating on the Series P number 2 from Partagás is an 8.7.
Well,
I think that's a fair score.
It's an excellent
That's
score.
an
That's a
excellent
great
score.
It's an elite score.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very fair score. And like I said, you can get a 10 count box of these probably for about $229 right now, or so. Maybe a little less if you find a deal.
Yeah, I just
totally
wanna,
worth grabbing.
I just want to quickly explain why I gave this an 8, not a 9. Obviously, I love Partagás. For my palate, I like some dessert-like flavors in a cigar, and that's very minimal in this cigar. You just get a little bit at times, but it's certainly not dominant at all through the smoke. The D4, the cinnamon we were talking about, like you get some of the baking spice notes throughout that cigar, which I really chase. So, if this were a D4 in this format, I mean, this would be a 9 or a 10 for me any day of the week. But when I'm looking for a change of pace, or I'm looking for something with just a little more strength or body to it, I'll pick this up. But that's why for me it's an 8 and not a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, I was kind of, once in a while you get these coffee or like chocolate notes from the cigar,
Yes,
but it
you
was
do.
like, it was rare. I
It's
wish
fleeting.
that was a little bit more.
Yeah.
Agree.
More that if you got more of that, maybe for me it would have gotten like a higher score because I like that flavor.
Sure. For me, the 9 comes through in the coffee and the very slight peppery note, which I love that combination. You don't get that in a lot of cigars. You just don't.
This was a 9 for me all day.
Yeah.
Piggybacking everything you guys have said so far is 100% accurate. This is one of those cigars, though, and I to Grinder's point, I would put it next to a Monty too. If I'm only able to have one cigar, I have an hour after a dinner. I had a great dinner with my parents. I think I told you guys, and I was sitting in a casino having a cigar. I brought a P2. I was able to have one cigar. I was so satisfied at the end of the night. Like it checked all the boxes for me, and I wasn't craving something else. It was perfect. So for me, it is that cigar where it just works in that after steak dinner kind of setting for me.
Absolutely.
I'll also say, and I feel like I have to say this because as much as I love Partagás, for the Battle of the Pyramids, torpedoes, whatever we want to call them, I would still take a BBF, a Bolivar Belicosos Finos, over the P2.
There's no doubt about it.
Personally.
Yeah, and that's a unique cigar, and that has really for me graham cracker.
Yep.
There are dessert notes in there.
Yep.
But you do get a tiny bit of pepper, which brings out the complexity in that stick.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it kind of like we talked about. It's one or the other on any given day.
Yeah.
I'd
give that a higher score than what I gave this today, because I really truly love that BBF cigar. It's fantastic for me.
I'm curious. I don't remember what we rated that.
Well, we rated it because I think the source of it was not the BBFs I have. I wish that one of us, myself or someone, was
Kept
handing
them.
those out.
Yeah. So we'll do them later in the year, early next year or something like that. We'll do them again and see what we get. Because I know you and I got some killer boxes of those things. So I'm sure Rooster does as well. So awesome, guys. An 8.7 for the Partagás Series P number 2. A fantastic Japanese whiskey. Thank you, Grinder. I think that was A+ for me.
Yeah.
A+ whiskey. So excellent, guys. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.